Okay, so today's video is about reducing fractions, also known as, aka, simplifying fractions. Now, when we're simplifying fractions, don't make the mistake of thinking that the number or fraction is getting smaller, right? That just means it's not being cut up as much as it was before. What I mean is, for this fraction right here, 24 out of 32, this fraction is cut up into 32 pieces. That's known as the whole amount, 32 whole amounts. And this is 24, part over whole. So 24 out of 32. Or think of 24 slices out of 32 slices of pizza. All right, it sounds like a lot of slices, but maybe the slices are very small. So we're going to make these numbers smaller by reducing them. And I'm going to show you two different ways this can be solved. One way is by using your multiplication chart. It comes in handy for multiplying, dividing, and also reducing. So the trick is, what you're going to be looking for is for both the top and the bottom, also known as numerator and denominator, to be lined up in the same column. Column means it goes up and down, up and down. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for both of these numbers to be lined up in the same column. So let's do that. All right. So I'm going to go right here. And like I said, when I say column, that means all the way up and down. They need to be aligned. So let's try to find if we can find 24 and 32 on here. All right, let's see. Going down, there's 24, but there's no 32, so that doesn't count. Well, there's 24 and there's 32. But just because it's lined up where the 4 is at doesn't mean it's going to be appearing anywhere else. You have to keep on looking through the whole multiplication chart just to make sure. The reason is because if you use the first one that you find, you might not be reducing enough of the fraction. Fractions can be reduced more than once. They can be reduced 2, 3, 4 times. But you want them in simplest form. Simplest forms means it cannot be reduced any further. So let's continue. Let's see if we find it anywhere, or find it anywhere else. There's 24, no 32 there. Let's see if it comes out anywhere else. 24 and 32. There it is. Anywhere else? There's 24, but no 32. So this appeared in two different columns. So let's just, so it comes out here. It also comes out here as well. So which do we use? You want to use the one that's furthest to the right. So again, if you forget left and right, which some of you do sometimes, your left, hold on, my pen's on the fritz, happens. So your left is going this way. There we go. So your left is going this direction, your right is going that direction. So we're looking for one that's furthest to the right, which would be this column right here. This one right here. So don't bother using this one. You can, but if you do use that one, you're going to find out you have to reduce even more. So focus on the one that's furthest to the right. So let's just get rid of this. Oops. There we go. Let's just get rid of this. And focus right here where it lines up with 8. And all you got to do now is look straight across on the left side to find out what to get reduced, what fraction it turns into. And there it is, 3 out of 4. What number do I divide both of these numbers by? By 8. Here's how you use it, and here's how you show your work. So the number I'm going to divide both of these by is this number that goes above it, one on top of the column, 8. So I'm going to divide this and this by 8. What is 24 divided by 8? 3. What is 32 divided by 8? 4. And if you noticed, our answer matches up to what I have right there, 3/4. So that's how you reduce fractions using a multiplication table. Here's another way. Another way, which I'm going to show you here at the bottom, is you try to think of two numbers that you can multiply, both 24 and 32. And you find the biggest number you can think of. Right now, I know that 24, if I multiply 6 times 4, that gives me 24. Let me try the same thing with 32. What two numbers do I multiply that gives me 32? Well, there's an example right here. 8 times 4 gives me 32. So I'm going to put right here 8 times 4. All right. What you do next is, if you see when you're multiplying and you find out two numbers that are the same for your top and bottom, you can then get rid of those numbers or scratch them off, whatever you prefer. And scratch them off, and you're left with 6 out of 8. But you're not done yet. I'm going to rewrite 6 over 8 over here. I'm going to use the same approach I did over here with 24, where I try to find a number where I can multiply, or two numbers I can multiply to get that number. So what two numbers can I multiply to give me 6? Well, there's 2 times 3. All right, that's 1. That's 2 combinations. Let's try with 8. All right, one example would be 2 times 4. Oh, the key here thing, or one thing to remember is, when you're trying to think of two numbers to multiply to get this number, don't use 1. All right, that's the only number that's off limits. 2 through 9 or 2 through 100 are all okay, but you cannot use 1. So what I mean is, let's say you're trying to figure out what two numbers do you multiply to get 8. Don't use 1 times 8. 1 is off limits. We're going to stick with what we had before, 2 times 4. And again, just like before, if you notice over here, when you see the same number appearing at the top and the bottom, scratch it off, and that'll leave you with your reduced fraction. So we're going to go over here, and well, there it is too. It appears here on top and bottom. So you scratch it off, leaving you with your answer. And look, it's the same answer I have over here. So it's up to you what method you prefer. I myself like using the multiplication chart, but if you prefer this route, go ahead and use that too. Hopefully that helped.